So I finally got around to streaming all 8 episodes of Spider Noir. This is a project that I was really kind of intrigued by checking out. I do have a bit of bit of a love for kind of like a film noir, and there's kind of like 1930s, 1940s kind of like era. So yeah, I thought that the whole idea of kind of like having a Spider-Man kind of spin on that I thought was really intriguing. And I was literally just going into this as with that kind of mindset, really, because I know that there was the Spider-Man noir comics. Obviously, this is based on. I hadn't had any real experience with those, so I can't really go kind of like too deep into how this compares to obviously the comic books and how much of a true adaptation of that is. I have spoken to some people who are more well versed with the comics than I am, and just basically kind of like on some of like their feedback. I kind of get that the comics basically are more grittier, they're more adult, they're more violent than basically what we get here, where we kind of get, which is basically we get where essentially for Spider-Man it is probably the most grown-up on-screen version of Spider-Man that we've got. But yeah, it does sort of a lot of the time lean kind of into maybe the more comedic side of it. I think that obviously a lot of that is answer like Nicolas Cage, who obviously if you've seen a lot of Nicolas Cage stuff, you kind of know what you're kind of gonna expect in, but he's kind of like really relishing in this role, and it's just great to see. You just have you could just see him really kind of like hamming it up and really kind of like hamming up that kind of like 1940s kind of like film noir, like film detective, Humphrey Bogart type kind of detective. So I just thought that this was a really this was just really, really fun to see. I think that you do have the option of seeing this either in like authentic black and white or in color. I had seen both, and as a result, I can honestly say I think that it works in both. I think that watching it in color, I think that everything is just obviously I don't want to say it's so colourful. Obviously, it is. It might be the silliest thing I've ever said. But what I mean is the colours really pop off the screen. So it just looks really beautiful. It looks really, really nice. So I can totally understand somebody just watching the whole series in color and just being totally engaged with just for me personally, I just think I was seeing something in black and white just adds something, or it just possesses something that is just kind of like, but just can't be really kind of matched by color. I really do. I think that's why I still have such a love for kind of like watching something like old black and white films, because I just think that there's just an immersive factor to it that I just don't think that it can be unmatched. I think that some of with the color version, I think that some bits are kind of like a bit overlit as well. Some of it maybe doesn't quite fit in with the sort of the time period and the aesthetic that they're going for. But on the whole, like I said, so I think that probably I would advise you probably watching this in black and white. But honestly, if you're the type who really just cannot do with black and white, I think that you can still have a really good time with watching this in color as well. I do think that it just comes down to personal preference. I don't think that we need to make a massive like deal about it. We get obviously the backstory here. We get these little Peter Parker references in the little prologue moment with Nicolas Cage's character, where basically we're picking up where he has basically ceased being the Spider, and he has been for like 5 years, ever since he had lost his wife. And he lost his wife basically because when he was like being the Spider, he was just doing it for the thrill, he was doing it for the fun of it, and as a result, because he was like accepting that with great power comes great responsibility, then obviously he lost his wife. So instead of kind of embracing that kind of like responsibility, he just kind of hung up the Spider and basically just tried to live a kind of like a relatively a normal life. So yeah, basically we had I like the spin on that we got on the villains here. Basically all of the story arc that we have, where basically there were these experiments done on these military people that kind of like went wrong, and as a result we get sort of like little alternative versions of some like Spider-Man villains, like a Sandman and Electro. I think both of those characterizations and both of those story arcs worked really well. I especially like seeing Electro and the kind of spin that they did on him. I thought there was something like really engaging with that. And yeah, like I said, I just like the immersive factor of this. I just think that I don't know if we're going to get a second series. I think we probably are. I mean, I do think that but if we do get it, I think we can only probably run this for 2-3 seasons top. I don't want to see as much as I enjoyed this first series. I don't think we were looking at something that maybe should be kind of like long running, because I do see this as being something that would kind of fall victim to those like diminishing returns, where it's sort of like, I think a big part of the reason why this first season works is because it is a little bit kind of niche, it is a little bit kind of quirky, and like I said, I think that that's always just kind of like works at best when you kind of keep it like really kind of fresh, and so I think that it's so yeah, and I think that that's another thing I really appreciate about it, especially like not because you're not setting this in the MCU, but this is kind of like its own entity. So because it's very much its own thing, and it's kind of like independent from the MCU, it means that you are able to kind of like see this sort of like little Marvel product, and you don't feel like it's being like a homework assignment. There's nothing you need to really kind of watch to kind of like enhance your experience or your understanding of this. So I think that there's quite a lot of casual viewers who maybe got a bit fatigued by kind of like the Marvel world, and that because of that. And so yeah, I think that this adds just a much more freshness, and that you are able to, like I said, it is its own thing, so you can just take it for what it is. And yeah, I think that especially if you have a liking for that kind of that little film noir genre, that little kind of like era, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. I know I did. And so yeah, I would advise you guys to check it out. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my review. So yeah, I'll be really intrigued to know what you guys thought about Spider Noir. So yeah, feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your own thoughts are. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please don't forget to like the video, share the video, all of that. And I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.